Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing yet another foreign movie review. This is from Serbia, Serbian language English subs, released in the year 2009, directed by Mladen Djordjevic, and this film is called The Life and Death of a Porno Gang. And the story to this one is as follows. As Serbia crumbles, Marko, a wannabe filmmaker, makes a buck shooting porn. Yearning fulfillment, he enlists a group of misfits to create porno theatre. When local cops shut them down, the troupe take their carnal cabaret to the peasants of rural Serbia. Poverty strikes and the gang turn to making snuff to make ends meet. They soon plummet into the dark depths of depravity, an abyss so deep they struggle to find a way out. So the movie is set in modern Serbia, and Marko is the main character, who is a film director. He's just recently graduated from film school and he wants to make horror films, but there is a very limited opportunity for horror directors because it's not a very popular genre in this country. So he goes to making porn. And he's a very ambitious director, and he's very creative and unique, and he decides to put a spin on his porn, but it's not very popular. So he decides to do something entirely different. It's still in the sex industry. What he's going to do is make a porn cabaret. So basically live sex shows. Now, Serbia haven't been exposed to this kind of thing, so he hopes it will be a big hit. So he recruits a band of misfits. You've got some transvestites, heroin junkies, some homosexuals who are ravaged with AIDS, and you've got all sorts of other colourful characters that make up the Porno Gang. Now, these are the performers for his sex shows. So they go to these sex shows and they perform everything from, graphic sex to bestiality, all kinds of just really bizarre performances. And the Serbian public are repulsed by this, and they don't want anything to do with it, and they end up walking out. And eventually, these shows are shut down by the police. So Marko has been run out of Belgrade, and now he has an idea that he's going to take his Porno Gang and they're going to go on the road and tour the rural villages of rural Serbia. So they go there, and the same problem happens. They're basically repulsed. It's too extreme for them, and they run them out of their villages. And so Marko and the Porno Gang have hit a dead end. They've got nowhere to go, and they're running out of money, and they're starving. So this is where Marko is approached by an old guy who specializes in snuff. Now, he tells Marko about snuff, and he says that there is a huge market because people are willing to pay a lot of money to see real deaths caught on camera. So initially, Marko rejects this offer. This guy wants to become a partner and make porno/snuff all mixed into one. But Marko says no, he doesn't want anything to do with it. But eventually he consults his Porno Gang, and they agree to do it because they're absolutely desperate for money. So they get their victims and they start killing people on camera, but then this is where they realize it's a lot harder than they thought it would be to kill a person. It has a lot of psychological impact, and it threatens to absolutely destroy the Porno Gang. So there's a lot they have to contend with, and to prevent myself from giving away too much, that's as far as I'm going with a synopsis. So if you want to know more, please go out there and see this film for yourself. And I do apologize, every time I do a video my nose is really itchy. Anyway, so my thoughts on The Life and Death of a Porno Gang. This one got reputation based on the fact that a Serbian film got a Serbian cinema on the map as a very extreme sort of nation as far as filmmaking is concerned, a very provocative nation willing to make a controversial film. So this one was actually made before a Serbian film, which is very surprising because I'd never heard of this one before the other film. So going into it, I was expecting something equally as shocking and controversial. I didn't get something that was as shocking as a Serbian film, but I do believe I got a better film in the end. Now, where this movie succeeds and a Serbian film doesn't succeed is the fact that in a Serbian film there is no humanity whatsoever. There's no decency in the bad guys. They're all caricatures. They're monsters, and they have no shred of decency. It's all very black and white. Whereas in this film, it is very grey. There are no real villains and there are no real good guys. This is a case of poor people thrust into a desperate situation, willing to do anything to make ends meet. And that's where I think the political message in this film succeeds so much more than a Serbian film. When a Serbian film first came out, the director said he made this film because it's a political analysis of the country of Serbia and how much chaos it's under. But I don't feel that was the real case for making the movie. I just felt that a Serbian film tried so hard to provoke a horrified response. It tried way too hard to be intense, and it was kind of like the mischief kid in school trying to, cause trouble just to get attention. I felt that that was a Serbian film all over. Very black and white, no decency in it at all, no shred of humanity whatsoever, and it was just a very straightforward, extreme film. Whereas this one, it is extreme, but it has a lot of humanity and it has a lot of realism to it. Now, what I loved about it the most is that these people, these porno gang, very dirty and scummy people, but yet they're very likable. And the director did a very good job at creating very good character development, very good depth to really sympathize for these people. You ended up actually feel like it's done in a documentary style of film, so you feel like you're going along the trip with them. And by the end of it, you feel like they're one of you. You're part of their family because they're so close, they're so intimate, and they've got so much troubles, but deep down underneath, they are human beings, and they're decent human beings. But when they're forced to do this sort of stuff, they become the monsters. But however, having said that, they're not complete monsters because they have a lot of remorse for what they do. So for that, I actually thought it was a very good character study as well as an extreme film. And that character study element was missing in the Serbian film. So that's why I thought this one was much more effective in what it was trying to do. And the political message of Serbia being very harsh towards the poorer people and not many opportunities arising, I felt that that's what they were trying to do in a Serbian film, but this is where it succeeded, and that movie actually failed. So the movie is done in a documentary style, very low budget, which really helped the atmosphere that it was going for. I thought, they wanted to make the scummy area of Serbia, and that's exactly what they portrayed in the style of way that it was actually made. Only $140,000 budget, which is pretty cheap for a movie, but I do feel that it wouldn't be as good if it had a higher budget like a Serbian film. I felt that the grittiness of this movie really suited it, and it really put the realism once again out there. Very, very realistic film, and I actually thought it was quite an emotional and touching film at times as well. Now, it is very, very shocking. There is some very graphic deaths. There is some very, very graphic sex scenes, some penetration. There's some graphic homosexuality. There is self-mutilation, suicide, animal killing, bestiality, all kinds of very, very provocative material. So although it's not quite as provocative as a Serbian film, it is still going to really upset the casual viewers. So this is only applying to the more extreme fan. Now, the acting, they're very amateurish actors, but they do a very, very good job. As I said, the script was very good, and for such a low-key production, I thought it had a lot of professionalism about it. And these characters, it didn't feel like they were portraying people who weren't too far away from them as real people. Although, obviously they've never committed these heinous crimes, but it felt like these guys weren't too far away from what they were. It's not so far out of reality to their real lives, which I think helped promote a real sense of family, promoted a real sense of emotion and a lot of sympathy as well. So that was really well done. I really liked the way the characters were made in the film, and I actually felt that that's what made the film. So yeah, a lot of sex, bestiality, but all of these shocking elements seems to have a purpose. Whereas all the purpose in a Serbian film was lost. They just wanted to be as provocative as possible, and they tried way, way too hard. Whereas in this movie, they don't try hard at all. They try hard to create a story, to create real people and a real situation. And it just so happens to have very shocking element in it. But as I said, at no point does the shocking element ever seem wasted. And it doesn't seem pointless at all. It all seems to fit in to a very rewarding experience by the end. Now, the ending was very dark, and I felt it suited the whole mood. There were parts of the movie that were funny, and this is the reason why it's such a grey film and it's not black and white, because there are moments where you're truly horrified, especially one scene in particular that features a gang rape, and then by the end of that gang rape scene, shockingly, I found myself laughing because there was a very funny moment at the end of it. I'm not going to give it away, but that is what the whole film was about, unpredictable sort of emotions. So you start off shocked and then you find yourself laughing. And that was such a unique experience, whereas, once again, I know I'm comparing it a lot to a Serbian film, but these two movies really are compared a lot. But a Serbian film, a shocking scene happened, and that was it. It was just shocking and nothing else. Whereas this movie, a lot of scenes have a lot of responses. You've got emotion, you've got sympathy, you've got uplifting, warm-hearted, but then, as I said, you've got shocking. So there's got a lot of things blended all into one to make what is a very good film, in my opinion. The soundtrack was pretty cool. I mean, it wasn't very over the top. Everything was done very subtly, and I do feel it helped the film in the end. So as a result of all this, I'm giving it 4 stars. I felt that at the start it was a little bit disjointed, but then when it gets rolling, it really starts to get good. So 4 stars for Life and Death of a Porno Gang. I do feel it's a lot better than a Serbian film, so if you enjoyed a Serbian film, then I would highly recommend you go out there and check this one out. It's equally as shocking in some scenes, but I do feel that this one really had a purpose. Alright guys, that's my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.